Hello Techies, welcome back to our channel UiPath by Sujitha. In this video, we are going to learn about an inbuilt tool from UiPath Studio, that is UiExplorer. UiExplorer, right? So please quickly open your notepads and take a notebook and pen and make key points, at least note down key points at least, so that it will be easy for you to refer whenever it is needed. Also, while you are working with selectors especially, this tool, this UiExplorer, helps us a lot in editing or in fine-tuning the selectors, right? So let us see what this UiExplorer is. This is a very key topic, key and critical topic, which everyone should know when you are working with UiPath Studio. Without this, without knowledge on this particular UiExplorer, we may not give our best selectors in order to achieve UI automation, right? So let us see what this UiExplorer is. UiExplorer is the functionality in UiPath Studio that allows you to analyze and edit selectors. Before that, we have already covered about the selectors, right? If you have not yet gone through those videos, please go to our channel and type selectors, so that you will get to know about the selectors, introduction to selectors and all, right? So now the UiExplorer is the functionality in UiPath Studio that allows you to analyze and edit selectors. By default, when you go with any recorder, it will give default selectors, right, for the particular UI element. When you want to analyze or when you want to edit the selectors, we have a selector editor, where you can deselect or fine-tune the selectors in that. But how to make the dynamic selectors, or if you want to while fine-tuning the selectors, if you are supposed to know about the parent or child elements, or you want to see the n number of the available selectors. Along with this, we would like to know some other XML fragments as well. So while fine-tuning these selectors, the main agenda is to fine-tune the selectors in order to achieve 100% best UI automation, right? In order to make selectors as dynamic when reliable selectors are not available. In such scenarios, we would use UiExplorer. Let us see what and all scenarios we are going for UiExplorer along with the functionalities of UiExplorer in this video. Okay, let us move on to this. So as I said, in UiExplorer we could see the there are many options like free panel, status button, which shows all the status of the selectors. Let me note it down. Status button, and then visual tree panel, and also it will contain all the tags and attributes corresponding to different selectors or navigatable paths and all, right? Let us see in deep using the UiPath Studio when we move on to the demo. Now let us concentrate on to understand in which scenarios we will go for UiExplorer when we use UiExplorer, right? When to use UiExplorer. So the main purpose of UiExplorer is to edit and analyze the selectors. That means whenever the automatically selected selectors are not reliable enough or not stable, in that scenario we'll go for UiExplorer. When the automatically selected selectors are not stable or reliable, in that scenarios we'll go for UiExplorer. What does this not stable and not reliable means. What does this means? I'll give you some options. Okay. Not stable. Not stable means selectors are not stable, which means it might be changing every now and then, right? Selectors change from one execution to another because selectors, it will contain the XML fragment, it will contain the ID of the element, or it will give the path to that element, right? Whenever this path, the selector XML fragment is keep on changing from each execution, in such scenario we will go to UiExplorer in order to analyze and edit the selectors, in order to fix this, in order to stabilize the selectors. Now let us see when to use the selectors. Next concept, next scenario. Say suppose there is a product or application upgrade. After that, there will be some impact on the UI elements path as well. So it will directly impact the selectors, right? So the selectors might change after each and every product update. Product in the sense whether it is an application or any desktop application, right? So whenever there is an update in the product, selectors might get impacted. So in such scenario, we will use UiExplorer in order to fix this. And one more thing is selectors, when they use the ID or IDX values, which is nothing but the index. So in some kind of UI elements, they will be using index of that particular page. So in such scenarios, the selectors will keep on, the index value will keep on changing if one more field or one more attribute been added to the application, right? So these are few examples, these are few scenarios where we need to go for UiExplorer in order to edit and analyze the selectors. So blindly you can remember this. Whenever there is a need to come, whenever there is a need to change the selectors or edit the selectors on a global view, that means considering the entire application's navigable paths, or considering the complete visual tree panel of each and every attribute in the application. In such scenario, we can use UiExplorer to give our best selectors to the UI automation. Let us see quickly how this UiExplorer looks like, and let us learn the parts of or the components of UiExplorer in UiPath Studio. Please open your UiPath Studio along with me. Have a separate sequence for this demo. So it is always advisable to do the demo, to practice this, or whenever I am going to teach you something, please do it along with me so that you will never forget, and whenever time comes, you will get to know which element needs to be used or which functionality to be used. Okay. So quickly see this. I have created a sequence, and now what I'm doing is I took rpachallenge.com. This is a website where I'm going to fill these details and submit. Now what I'm doing is I'm just going, I'm using App Web Recorder. So in order to select this. This is my first one, phone number. I'm going to select. So what I'm doing is I'm just giving some random value and then confirm. Next, I'm using last name. And then address. Now first name. Right? And then role in company. enough. So I am not concentrating much. I'm going to submit. Okay, so submit. Right, now let us save this and return back to our UiPath Studio. Now let us pick one phone number. Let us consider the phone number. Go to the properties of this type into activity, and you could see the target and here selectors, right? So when you open this selector, this will be opened in a selector editor, which we have already learned, right? It is showing the details, attributes or the selector details, and it is enables us to edit the particular attributes which are related to this particular selector, but not the complete application attributes or the tree panel, navigable path and all, right, for each element, right? So now you could see there is an option called open in UiExplorer. It is enabling us to open the same selector in UiExplorer. So this way you can navigate to UiExplorer. This is one method. When we click on this, it will be open. It will change the current selector in UiExplorer. See, there are n number of relative paths to this particular selector along with the current selector. This is our current selector, and it is giving n number of options. Along with that, it is giving us the visual tree of complete application, right? It is giving all the attributes here. Also, it is giving us property explorer, another panel. Let us go in depth about each of these panels. But this is one way to open the UI Explorer, and one more way is in the design ribbon. You could see UI Explorer option, right? Let me close this. You could see UI Explorer option. So you can directly open UI Explorer here. Okay. And then indicate the element. Let me open the RPA challenge. So let me go to UI Explorer. Then indicate the element which will enable us to indicate the element on UI, right? On click of this, I'm just taking the first name one, right? So this way it has captured all the details. So this is one methodology, right? Now let us see about the different options or different panels or elements available in UI Explorer. Okay, let me go through all this one by one. So we could see UI Explorer Panels, okay, or options. What are those? I hope you are following this and you are making a note of all these key points, right? So let's see. So the first one is this green one, whatever showing here, validate. It is in green, right? So it has multiple states, okay? Green, red and yellow and orange and all. What it will be doing, it will choose, it will validates whether the edited selector is valid or not. So if you make any changes in this, say suppose I am making some changes, and this will help us to validate whether the current selector, whatever you have edited, is valid in order to select the required UI element or not. Okay, so let us see now it has changed its color. So what it says, the selector was modified, please revalidate. When I use this validate, it will validate, and it is giving a green signal saying the edited selector is valid. Now let me add few more changes and use this again. Understood? So when I remove something, let us see whether it is valid or not. Okay, let me give some wrong ones. Okay, fine. It is working. Okay. I just want to make you understand different states in validate. Okay, okay, fine. Now there are multiple states in this. It is showing in orange whenever the selector is modified, right? And also green when it is valid. And it will show in red when the selector is not valid. Okay, fine. Let us quickly make a note of this. Validate button. Validate. Okay. So what it is doing? Validates the edited selector. Clear, right? This is enough to remember. Now let us move on to the other one, that is indicate element. What it is doing, just now we have seen, right? It will help us in while indicating the element, UI element in our application, right? So that it will capture and it will automatically provides a selector, right? So indicate element. Indicate element. What it is doing? Enables us to indicate the UI element and captures the corresponding selector. Okay, fine. Now the other one, if you see the next one, okay, fine. This is the indicate element. One more option is here. See, indicate anchor. When you use this, let me go back to our PA challenge. When you use this particular one, already we have selected the first name, right? Now we are going to select the anchor for it. Okay. So this way it will append the selector along with the right. So it has given the anchor. It just included the anchor part into the already existing selector. Okay, it has not provided one more selector, rather it is considering an anchor, the the XML fragment to the already existing elements XML path. Okay, fine. Now let us quickly make a note of this. Indicate anchor enables us to indicate anchor to the UI element. Okay, fine. Now let us quickly move on to the next option. Even though this is time consuming, it is very useful to know about this in detail. Okay, fine. Now let us see the next one, that is a repair. So whenever we get some wrong, whenever we get some, let me give it this as to, see here, when this is not a valid selector, this repair option came. So it suggests us to, it helps us in order to repair the, okay, it helps us in repairing the selectors. You might have noticed this, right? So let me go back to UiExplorer and show you how to repair this. Okay, could not repair the selector. Why? I just gave a wrong label name. Okay, now I hope you got the information. Helps us in repairing the selector. Re-indicate the same target element to repair the current selector. So it provides us a, okay, repair, re-indicate the selector, re-indicate the element to repair the selector. Okay, fine. Next, what is the next option available? It is highlight. Whenever you made some change and when you click on highlight, it will be highlighted, the selector, the element will be highlighted on the UI. Okay, now let us use highlight See, it is getting highlighted. This way it is useful, right? Highlight. Now let us quickly make a note of this. Highlight. It is very useful when you keep on changing the selectors in order to give a 100% reliable selector. Okay, so in parallelly it is kind of testing. Whenever you made some changes in the selector, you can just quickly click on the validate and use highlight to find whether it is really highlighting the proper proper element, or it is indicating some other element. Okay, so this way it is useful. Highlights the element corresponding to the selector, edited selector. Okay, fine. Now next there is one more thing, that is options. Options. What and all options are available here? It has different frameworks. So by default it's been selected as default. Next, active accessibility and UI automation. Let us come to this later. And there are few more: delayed restore, trigger, selector, right? So what is delayed restore? Delay restoring the UI Explorer window until after the selector data is closed. Excuse me. Okay, loaded. Delay restoring the UI Explorer window until the selected until the selector data is loaded. So it will be it will take some time to load the selector, right? So it will delay opening the UI Explorer until it finds the selector. Okay, fine. And use this option when indicating UI elements, the auto close on focus lost, such as some drop downs or overlays. Okay, and trigger selector. There is one more option called trigger selector, where it ensures the uniqueness of an UI element within its parent while increasing its monitoring accuracy. So when to use this? Use this option when generating selectors for trigger activities. I hope you got the difference. Don't worry, when we are doing some demo on this, you will come to know about this. Okay, for now just concentrate on the key points, the elements here. Okay, key options here. Okay, now let us go to the panels part. We have something called visual tree. What it is showing? See the tree here, it is similar to a tree which is containing all the attributes, all the element. See here, everything, whatever is there in the UI, everything been displayed here, right? You could see everything. Okay, fine. Now let us see in detail what this visual tree is. Let us make a note of whatever we are going to discuss. Different panels. So the first one is visual tree. So what is this visual tree? What it contains and why we use this? This is the place where you will find all the UI elements from all the open applications in a which structure it is. It is in a tree structure. That means it is in a folder and subfolder structure, right? A place where you find all the UI elements from all the open apps in a folder and subfolder structure. So why we use this? We can get to know about the different UI elements available in the application while you are editing any, right, when you are editing your selector. Okay, so now let us see the property explorer. There is one more thing called property explorer. No need to go in deep about this, because this is an overview session about the UI Explorer. So you just keep in mind that these many options are available in UI Explorer, so that when we start working on editing any selectors, we'll come to know about these options in deep. Okay, So there is something called Property Explorer. So without practice, will not come to know, or we may not get in deep knowledge about each and every of this. Okay. So Property Explorer, it displays all the attributes of a certain UI element. Okay. So it visual tree will displays all the UI elements present in the apps, whereas Property Explorer will displays the attributes related to UI element, including those that are not displayed in the selector also. Okay. For example, position, visibility, inner text, and so on. So this way we'll come to know what and all properties are available for a particular element. So we can start using those attributes while editing the our selector. Hope you got this, right? So where it is, now let us quickly see where it is. This is where it is. So you could see different attributes for the element. See, CSS selector, foreground, has focus. So many are there, ID, and also we'll decide whether to use this or not. Now there is something called selected items. So where we can select or deselect the attributes which will keep on adding or deleting from the this edited selector, right? You could see you could notice the difference. When I'm keep on adding, this is getting added, and when I remove it, it is getting removed. This way we can edit our selector. So selected items. Okay. So there is one more portion called selected items. Selected items, select or deselect the attributes related to current selector. Okay. So let us move on to the next panel, that is selector editor. Selector editor. Okay. Now let us see what the selector editor is. So this displays all the nodes of the selector. So we can select or deselect the nodes corresponding to the selector. Okay. So I'll show you how. See here, there are different nodes available here. Let me remove this highlight. Okay. So when I add this, it is getting added. So we can decide and we can test validate whether it is working fine or not, whether it is valid selector or not. Okay. And also we can use highlight whether it is really representing the required or expected element or not on the UI. So this way we can use a selector editor while deselecting or selecting the different nodes of the selector. Okay. Right. Now let's move on to this. Also we can call this as UI hierarchy, because if you see here, it is in a hierarchical mode. That means it is representing its parent nodes, and also when the child node, when the current selector is not working, we can start validating each and every parent node. Okay. So this way, that is the reason it is also called as UI hierarchy. See here, you can call when you mouse over to this, it says add or remove ancestors from UI hierarchy. Okay, fine. So I hope you got the difference of the information on this hierarchy and visual tree and property explorer and selected element items, which is very crucial and which are needed while you edit the selectors. Okay, fine. And now let us move on to different UI frameworks available here. We have by default been selected, right? This will work. Actually, UI frameworks, we will shift from within these three frameworks in order to give the best selector, in order to capture the best selector out of the UI depending on the application. In general, default will suits to all type of UIs. Okay. Now let us see the active accessibility. Active accessibility. we should select this active accessibility when we are working with legacy applications, because this been provided by Microsoft in order to access the legacy applications when the default is not giving unexpected results. Okay, next, UI automation. Let us use this. Okay, now next it is UI automation. UI application is the modern one. So when the default doesn't work, is not giving the expected result, especially with the new applications, this been provided by Microsoft especially to deal with the new applications. So by default it will work for all the applications, whereas if the output, if it is not giving the expected results, if the application is some legacy application, you could take active accessibility, which will enable us to access the legacy application UI elements, whereas UI automation will enable us to work with the newer applications, and it is provided by Microsoft. This, for now, this particular information is enough for you. Okay, so we have covered all the elements or all the panels and options which are available in UI Explorer. So let us quickly review this, whatever we have gained. We have learned about the usage, and we have learned about different status in the status button, and what is UI Explorer panels and options which are available. We have seen Visual Tree Explorer, Property Explorer, Selected Items, Selector Editor, and which is nothing but your UI hierarchy and all, right? Also, we have seen different UI frameworks. Okay, so that's all for this session. It is a very useful session, and we'll do a demo on this UI Explorer in our coming videos. Thank you so much for your support so far. If you like this video, please give a like and share with your friends and colleagues too. And also please do subscribe for our channel. Thank you so much. We'll meet you through our next videos. Until then, keep learning and happy automating. Bye bye.